Yep, that's right. Candy zombies. I really need to stop conducting my experiments in the graveyard. But first things first, you gotta help me get back to the castle so I can make the cure for my peeps.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at the 10 LEGO games with the best roster of characters.
No, wait. We do not want any adventures here. Good morning.
According to WASP, the researchers have vanished.
Let us sally to their aid.
For this list, we're taking a look at character grids in LEGO games that were the most ambitious, diverse, and fun to play with. Which LEGO game do you feel has the best cast? Did it make the list? Let us know in the comments below. Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. LEGO Batman the video game. The character grid for the first LEGO Batman was a milestone for TT Games, or more specifically, Traveler's Tales. Before this, the studio had to base character designs directly from specific source material. So this was the first time they got to design characters with some creative freedom, and they nailed it. Every character's personality shines in their idle animations, combat, even in how they jump and land. On top of that, almost all of Batman's most notorious rivals are here, and boast designs, details, and traits blended together from the Dark Knight's various TV shows, movies, and other video games. LEGO Jurassic World. One could easily dismiss LEGO Jurassic World's character grid as some of the less significant cast do look a little generic or resemble others too closely in skill sets. However, you have to give the game credit for how it depicts our favorite archaeologists and paleontologists. Not only do the animations sell on the mannerisms of each character, but the developers managed to strike a perfect balance between LEGO's simplistic appearance and the detail of caricatures. And you weren't limited to just these boisterous minifigs either. If you played long enough, you could control the dinosaurs themselves and even Mr. DNA. Needless to say, Jurassic Park fans probably lost their minds with LEGO Jurassic World. I know I certainly did. LEGO The Hobbit.
What? No, wait. We do not want any adventures here. Good morning.
If you believe LEGO The Lord of the Rings would have been a better candidate for an entry, we can't exactly refute your case. It was a fantastic collection of characters from Tolkien's famed franchise, though you have to admire what LEGO The Hobbit gave us in terms of playable characters. Admittedly, there are a few too many variants for our liking, but Traveler's Tales went all out on the character animations and ability diversity, especially when it came to the dwarves. Each of the dwarves has its own demeanor to set itself apart from the others, making them much more recognizable. Plus, you could create your own custom Big Figs, a first for the LEGO games.
Funeral arrangements, so forth.
Funeral arrangements?
LEGO Batman 3: Beyond Gotham. We promise this list isn't going to be completely dominated by Batman, but Beyond Gotham had such a fantastic lineup of playable characters that it's impossible to ignore. This wasn't just an expanded or improved upon roster of the first two LEGO Batman games. This was a meaty mashup of various DC Comics characters from Superman to Wonder Woman to even Green Lantern. We were even given an assortment of more bizarre heroes and villains from DC's most obscure moments. If you hadn't heard of Bat Cow or seen Daffy Duck as the Green Lantern before, well, you have now. Only thing we didn't get was a playable Conan O'Brien, despite him being featured in the game. Come on, you can't put the talk show host in here and not include the Flaming Sea in some way. Where was that? LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2.
As soon as we're low enough!
Was he wearing a rocket pack?
You're kidding, right?
While this may not be the best of the LEGO games, this installment managed to achieve a sizable feat. At the time of this recording, LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2 has the largest roster size out of any other LEGO game, clocking in at some 300 characters.
Fury out.
3 teams. Grab Spider-Man on your way out.
Though Skywalker Saga looks to break that record in the near future whenever that game releases. Traveler's Tales certainly took advantage of the game's time-traveling theme, as they included characters from across various Marvel spin-offs to even not-so-famous or infamous stars, such as Howard the Duck and Cosmo the Space Dog. Die-hard Marvel fans could have a field day with all the characters featured here.
The source of the radiation spike. According to WASP, the researchers have vanished.
Let us sally to their aid.
LEGO Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars. If you couldn't get enough of the Clone Wars TV show and the 2008 flick, you probably picked this title up. LEGO Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars may not have a grid as sizable as most of the other LEGO games, but the cast present here are still noteworthy. In addition to your usual Jedis and Sith, you also have a buffet of playable droids, the Clone Troopers Thyre, Jek, Reese, Cody, Rex, Waxer, and Boyle, each with their different abilities, and even monstrous beasts like the Nexu and Acklay. Those who adored the Force Unleashed games were even given a LEGO-fied version of protagonist Starkiller. Yeah, you had plenty of reasons to grab this game. LEGO Dimensions.
Yeah, that's why I do it.
And me?
Me too.
I specifically request the bills or the cashier's checks.
Even though it was incredibly expensive for a Toys to Life game, God knows I know how expensive it was. I bought a ton of these packs. One cannot deny the ridiculous achievements this game set out to accomplish. LEGO Dimensions managed to pull off some demented ritual and transcend beyond legal department to give us an exceptional roster of characters. Tell us, in what other game, movie, TV show, book, other piece of fiction or media can you see Scooby-Doo, Sonic the Hedgehog, and a Dalek exploring the world of Oz? Heck, we didn't even think a sentence like that could even exist, let alone actually seeing it happen. Those who indulge in pop culture would find plenty of reasons to appreciate LEGO Dimensions. It's just a shame that it left about as quick as it kidnapped our wallets and died 3 years after it launched. Dang.
Anyway, Titans, go!
LEGO Marvel Superheroes.
Wow. So much for taking the subway down to the Bugle. Guess I'll just have to fight my way through it.
Before what would be the start of Marvel's foray into LEGO games, the concept of such a title seemed unlikely. Why would Warner Bros. Interactive allow TT to make a game centered around their competitors' IPs? Why not keep them on DC Comics IPs exclusively? Well, for one thing, you wouldn't have a cool collection of comic book heroes and villains quite like this. LEGO Marvel Superheroes was a celebration of the brand's first LEGO game, featuring your usual favorites like Spider-Man, the Avengers, and most of the X-Men. They also managed to work in more adult-oriented characters such as Ghost Rider, the Punisher, and Deadpool, who, by the way, is voiced by none other than the fantastic Nolan North. We suppose you could say this was TT's way of welcoming Marvel to the LEGO gaming family.
Hey, you got a vacuum cleaner on one of those arms?
LEGO Star Wars: The Complete Saga. Speaking of character grids that celebrated their IPs, LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga is worthy of being called the best LEGO game ever made. Hey, we did so twice here at Watch Mojo and MojoPlays. Part of why it deserves such a reputation is because of the character grid. Sure, this is just a mashup collection of the first 2 LEGO Star Wars games, but it's this massive roster that makes free play even more fun. Want to play through the Duel of the Fates level as Jar Jar Binks and General Grievous? You can do that, even though it's obvious that Grievous would win, because Jar Jar has no defensive abilities. Want to use Ben Kenobi and Phantom Menace Kenobi to save themselves in the droid factory, thus creating this weirdo-looking time loop? You can do that as well. You can create just about every wild and absurd scenario you can think of with this game, and it's what makes the Complete Saga so much fun to play even after you've 100%ed it. LEGO DC Supervillains.
And then I told him, that's no parademon. That's my mother-in-law. Sure, I can make Roy's party.
Oh my god, it's one of my favorite games from 2018. I loved this game. LEGO DC Supervillains exceeded our expectations in several different ways. So much so that I gave it a glowing review back when the game launched in 2018 here on MojoPlays. Be sure to check that out if you haven't. In addition to a fantastic mashup world of DC Comics, we were given perhaps the best selection of characters in any LEGO game ever.
Polka Dot Man, making crime a vicious circle.
This was a gathering of DC's most sinister criminals and masterminds, featuring an equally sizable handful of heroes old, new, popular, and obscure. On top of that, the story mode was centered around the player's own customized villain, a first for the LEGO games. Seriously, if you haven't played this already, or were burned out by a bad game recently, DC Supervillains will perk you up right away with its charming personality, creative take on DC villains and heroes, and overall fun gameplay. Seriously, please get DC Supervillains. Get LEGO DC Supervillains right now. My god.
Black Manta has risen from the deep.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, there's more where that came from.